It's 5 o'clock. We can get started. Just kind of remind us this is a work session, so it's very much discussion based tonight. For all of you, I want to let you know who's here in council chambers. So this is Laura Berkeley. I'm the development and planning administrator for the city. Who you see on screen, that's Matt Wordrich. He's our new planner too. So he's going to be HPC staff liaison. So we're working on getting him up to speed with all of the HPC things. He can maybe after the work session kind of give you guys a little bit of info about himself. We have Jake Ralph here as well, who's our plans examiner for the city. And then we have the petitioner, Jonathan and
Julia
Rocha. And then for you guys, you have on the screen John Freeze, our chair, Diane Franken, Christine Powers, Kevin Lesteggy. And so that is 4 of the 7 commissioners on the Historic Preservation Commission. Okay. Do you want to share your
sure.
screen? All right. So Matt has all of the information that Jonathan provided. You kind of want to explain. Matt can go through it, and then you can kind of explain what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Make it a little bit bigger.
Sure. So just let me know if there's a certain page that you want me to head to.
Yeah, that's fine. I've kind of got some of my own points if that kind of works. So,
that'd be great.
Just to kind of introduce ourselves, like she said, like Laura said, my name is John Rocha. It's my wife Julia. We're remodelers that just moved to the area. I'm from the Quad Cities originally, but we just moved back to start a remodeling business. A little bit about us: we take pride in mostly like our detail and our design work. We really think that makes our business and kind of who we are. But more than that, like we want to see the communities that we're a part of thrive. And so that's kind of why we chose to move back here too, just to, I'm from here and I love it here and I want to see it succeed. As far as the house goes that we purchased, we were looking for a flip house that we could kind of get started. And we saw this one kind of come up, and it was, we fell in love with the location immediately. It overlooks the river. I love the East Village. I remember going down there a lot when I was, in high school and even out of school, and we like going down there a lot. And when we went to purchase it, it was a quick sale. There was a lot of people that wanted it, and so it was a final and best offer that we had to give. And so we only got one look at the house, and so we did end up getting it. And then when we went in there to start doing some work on it, from the outside, the foundation, they must have put hydraulic cement on it to kind of seal it. And then it looks like they put some type of a retaining wall in the basement to kind of help the foundation. But the foundation is made of red brick, and so it's crumbling, under the house. There's a lot of water damage that's coming in because it's just soil that's kind of coming through the foundation now. I had called Mid-American Basement to come look at it initially, and they just were like, there's nothing you can do. So I started calling other foundation contractors just to see kind of what other options we had. And most contractors wouldn't really even consider doing something like this. So it was just really tough for us to kind of figure out. And not only was the foundation bad, but the sill plate, which is the framing that's on the foundation, is completely rotted away. It's gone. The roof is overstressed because the dimensional lumber that's up there isn't correct. So really, like, the only framing that's even good on the house is the middle section of the wall. I mean, there's really not much that can be kept there. And so that was kind of some of our problems with the house. And we just believe that economically, in order for that property to make sense, we do everything off of the square footage, and it's 1,200 square feet. And the money we would have to put into that, we would lose money based on what we could sell it per square foot for that area. We do believe that if we can tear it down, put a similar structure that's there but bigger, we can get with and maybe some more character. Obviously, somebody tried to remodel it once already, and it's kind of just plain vinyl siding with kind of run of the mill whatever. And so we think if we can add some character to it and have a bigger footprint, then it'll make sense more economically on our behalf to make it make sense with the square footage really helps out in that regard. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with the project. I don't know if you want to pull up the budget or the comparison that I gave you, and I can just kind of look at a couple.
You know what, I actually don't have the budget.
Oh, okay. I've got that on mine, but you're talking about the engineer packet?
Yeah, we have that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can get that. This is your engineering report.
Yeah, so that was the engineering report. And we went with Townsend just because they were down in that area, so they know it really well, and they've obviously done stuff. So I mean, we try to stick with people that have been down there before, and so. But that was the big thing with the foundation, the roof, and the floor joists were overstressed as well. None of us really caught it, but there's actually like a false wall in the foundation, and I don't even know what's on that side of the house. It's like under the deck, that side of the foundation, there's a whole like cinder block wall that you can't even see what's back there, and I popped open the floor and it looks like it's just dirt in there. So it's pretty rough shape. So that's obviously their report there. That wall right there, that cinder block wall, that runs 3/4 of the way around the basement. It's kind of like a retaining wall, but that's even just filled with dirt. And the center beam right there underneath of that was cracked and falling apart. So there's the structure itself is kind of collapsing. In the middle, that's kind of the same thing. Right there, you can see some of the water damage where they tried to put something over top of it, but it's just coming right through. The floor joists are also notched out, which they said was bad. That side of the house actually sank 2 inches, and so we tried to kind of lift it up a little bit, and it was fairly scary just trying to just get it somewhat decent. But so yeah, that was their report. That was the big thing. I don't know if they put the roof on there as well, but that was another issue that they had seen. I don't know if there's anything else, Matt, that you wanted me to kind of run through.
We did include the historic inventory sheet for it. There wasn't a lot of information on that property.
Yeah, but the relationship to the surrounding area is neutral. Just something to keep in mind. And then also included is a list of orders against the property.
Oh yeah, yep.
Which mostly include things like deteriorated windows and different fire code issues.
and that was the only judgment on it when we had purchased it, was just whatever the city had on it. I don't think there was anyone living in there for quite some time. And so there were just a lot of things that had kind of fallen apart.
Does it have, the utilities on to it?
No, the utilities are off. So, and the heat's been off, and so that really hurts houses, is when there's just no anything in there. And so that was, I think, why that center beam started failing.
We did include the assessor's information on the assessed value of the property as well. And then we did include some pictures of the surrounding area.
Could you scroll back to the basement pictures again? I want to point out something to the commission members. We'll start with the one with the support under the beam, that one right there. Structures of this age, mine falls into this category over in the Hamburg district. You can clearly see that the structure is woefully doesn't meet today's code. Those floor joists are not adequate in size. They're probably at best a 2x8, maybe a 2x6. The distance between them appears to be at least 2 feet and maybe 30 inches. The beam holding them up is woefully inadequate. It's very possible that this house has gone through a number of foundation changes over the years. Based on its age, my guess, its original foundation was probably a rubble stone foundation. That failed. They probably put in the brick foundation. That failed. Then they poured the concrete walls on the inside of the foundations, which only compounded the problem. So I'm very aware of this type of construction. When I purchased my house in 1984, and it's about 3,600 square feet from the first and second floor, we had to totally support the whole rear end of the structure, because your sill beams, they're not sill plates, they're sill beams. They can be anywhere from a 4x6 to a 6x8. Mine were 8x10s. The joists are actually notched into those beams, so you have an L shape on one end and a reverse L in the beam. Over the years, the weight of the house splits those in half. So it's a very difficult construction method to deal with once it's failed. So I can totally understand what has happened here from the lack of care over the years, and recognized it right away when I saw this picture.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. The floor joists are 2x6s, and I think they are 24 inches apart.
You want to go to show the surrounding area, just to give context where they're looking again.
So we went and just included some photos of the Village of East Davenport area. So highlighted in yellow is our property. You can see it's located in the middle of the block on Christie Street along the alley. And then we've included some photos looking at the building from different viewpoints, as well as just giving you a sense of the surrounding neighborhood and area. So this is a view looking from the northern part of the street, looking down, south. And then here's a view from the alley, if you're looking this way towards the school. And then this last photo is on 12th Street looking north. So the building itself is pretty hidden from 12th Street with some of the landscaping that's been overgrown throughout the years. And then these are just the properties directly abutting this parcel, just to kind of give you a sense of the neighborhood and what's directly adjacent to it.
Commissioners, do you have any other questions about this or need any additional information before this January meeting?
My only comment would be because of the age of the structure, it was probably a simple structure to begin with. Its age is probably pre-Queen Anne, so it would have had very little decoration on it. So that would be a recommendation to the design review board to not go overboard with trying to make it something it never was. You know, if we're gonna try to build a new structure to look like it may have appeared whenever it was built, probably someplace between the 1860s and 1880s.
Okay.
That was pre-industrial manufacturing of siding and fish scale and all the decorations that went on the Queen Anne and the Princess Anne's, and so that would be something important for the design review board to consider and for staff to consider.
Okay. The point of clarification is it's just outside design review board's area, so it would be a staff review.
Okay.
So it would be something that we would be looking at, and for your commissioners, just for your knowledge, one of the requirements for the, it's zoned R4C, so a single family home in the center city. There are some design requirements associated with, things in the center city that take care to make it, compatible with the surrounding neighborhood. So that is something we will be looking for, just to make sure it fits in the neighborhood.
Another recommendation then would be for you staff to contact staff and special collections over at the main library and see if they can research the address to see if there probably aren't, but just to take a quick look to see if there's any historic photographs of the building that might have caught it before it was covered in vinyl siding.
Any other questions from the commissioners?
I have just a quick one. Let's see, Christopher Townsend, in his letter that we received, he thought the space, he says reportedly constructed in 1900. And Fred, you feel that it's earlier than that? Is that my understanding from what you said?
The historic survey that we found had it checkmarked for post-1910. So I'm thinking it must be very early 1900s.
Yeah. So generally.
The 1910 tag is something the assessor usually tags a property with. Mine was tagged until I corrected it when they don't know the actual age of the building.
Okay, thank you.
This assessor tag is 1900. The inventory sheet we had from our survey said 1910. So
that was pretty common back in the 80s to just use that 1910 number because it was part of the survey. I don't know. The construction, to me, the construction says late 19th century because mine was 1887 and it has that exact foundation construction.
Okay. So it's more looking at the foundation that gave
I
you
was
that.
looking at the frame construction from those pictures in the basement, and that
Okay.
to me that predates 1900. I may
And you
be
mentioned-
wrong. Maybe they were still using it then, but I think it's older than what people have it tagged as.
Yeah, you said the rubble, you called it the rubble foundation.
Yeah, that's where they just used limestone and just kind of scab it together with lime putty mortar.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Diane. Are there any other questions?
It appears everybody's happy with the presentation. I know I am. Staff can go ahead and prepare a report for our next meeting.
Okay.
Is there any additional information you feel like that you might need for the formal meeting?
I mean, we'll contact, the library to see if they happen to have any photos, but anything else in addition to that?
Photos or written information on it. You know, I haven't done research in special collections for years. I spent a year and a half in there researching my property when I bought it back in the 80s. So maybe things are digitized now where they can do a search a little easier than the hand search I had to do.
Sure. Alrighty.
Other than that, well, I don't know. You may want to contact the SHPO office. Maybe they have something, or maybe they know something at the federal level through the National Park Service. So might as well use that resource. If there's nothing there to be had, at least we tried.
Okay. Do you have any questions for the commissioners ahead of the January meeting?
I think we just appreciate your guys' time.
Thank you for all the information.
Well, thank you for preparing a very good report for the commission.
Thank you. That was help from Matt too, so I appreciate it from Matt.
And that's a great segue. I said I would let Matt kind of introduce himself a little bit since he's pretty new to the city. So why don't you just tell him a little bit about your background?
Yeah, hello, everyone. My name is Matt Witterich. I'm the newest planner with the department. So I'll be the contact now for the Historic Preservation Commission. So just a little bit about me before I took this position with the city of Davenport. I was a planner with the city of Kenosha, Wisconsin. And I worked there for 3 years, and I also was their staff support for the Historic Preservation Commission with Kenosha. And then before that, I went to Milwaukee, where I got a bachelor's degree in geography, and then my master's in urban planning. So the draw, I guess, to the Quad Cities is my wife grew up in Davenport, so it's been our plan to relocate back here to be closer to family. So, yeah, I'm happy to be here, and, yeah, looking forward to meeting everyone, hopefully in person, in not too long.
Well, welcome, Matt. Glad to have you.
Yes, welcome.
And we're happy to have him. He's doing a great job.
On behalf of the commission, welcome to Davenport. Welcome to the city that has the most National Register districts in the state of Iowa.
True.
Happy to be here.
Alrighty, with that being said, that's the end of the work session. We'll, prepare the staff report for our January meeting. And
Yep, which will be on the 12th.
January 12th, and then, we'll get that information out to you in the packet for that meeting. All right, everybody, have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.